What do you look in with people and businesses before you invest even one pound? What's important for you?
Well, it's not always money that I invest. Sometimes it's my expertise. So it's either money, my expertise, or both.
Okay.
Depending on where the business is.
So expertise would mean you would get a share, volume X, Y, for your expertise that you put in the company. Yeah?
Right. So, for example, there's a company that I work with in Singapore. They do juicing. I took their business from 300,000 to 1.5 million in a year.
Wow.
Right. Just by using some of the marketing trends, branding, marketing, and sales, and systemization in operations.
Yeah.
I was able to see that, and now I take a sizable stake in that company, but I don't put any money into it because my money is equity.
Yeah, got it.
Whereas with events companies, like if I'm going to invest into an events company, maybe I'll invest in the marketing of that event, for example.
So what I do here though is that blueprint that once you understand how success works, it's pretty much it's a blueprint for other businesses as well. I mean, juicing has nothing to do with real estate or business, but it pretty much works the same.
Business is so simple. I think just people complicate it. And I think the way I do it is very different. Because I use the power of the internet, I'm always looking for the audience first, right? This is, again, when we come full circle back to why it worked, one of the reasons why that launch worked is because, guess what? I already had the audience, right? I already had the audience. And so if I already have the audience and I go to that audience and I offer that audience that's going to solve one of their biggest problems, I get paid to do it.
Right.
So all I'm doing right now is I'm looking for audiences. Like so you asked me what's one of the criteria is when someone comes to me and say, John, can you be an investor in my company? Okay, one, is there a big need in your industry right now? Like, is there a big need for it? Are the people begging you, no matter what price it's like cigarettes, isn't it? No matter how much you charge for cigarettes or alcohol, people will still buy. Right.
So just for me to understand the juicing in the juicing business, for example, the audience, pretty much the client, the customer is there, yes, but how do you get them to buy the juice?
Okay, so that's through strategy. So there's always three things. Number one is I'm always looking at strategy and tactics. Strategy is the big picture. Tactics is the how to get there.
Okay.
Right. So for example, people that want to juice, we found that the people that want to lose weight without doing any work. Right.
That's true, yeah. That's the pain point.
Right. It is the pain point. Like,
you have to find the pain point. Yeah.
I can see you're in good shape. You must exercise.
Yeah.
I do. I'm in okay shape. I exercise every day.
Yeah.
But I still juice. You
yeah.
know?
Me too.
It's finding out the market that you want. For example, I just invested £3 million into a software that will allow people to create, like coaches, speakers, authors, creators, to create a membership site in a few clicks, so they can make recurring income. Right? And so
it's interesting for me as well. We have a large audience, but we don't have a membership site.
Well, I'll tell you where the pain is for that. We found that speakers are very charismatic. They're very, presentable, like yourself. You're very charismatic. You've got great energy, but not many speakers are technical.
That's true. I'm not technical at all.
Like if you ask me about coding and how do you code C+ this and that and JavaScript this and that, they have no idea how to do it. That's why, I created this, software that will allow anybody with no technical ability to, because you want to be good at, you would just want to focus on what you're good at, which is delivery and content. You don't want to deal with all the nonsense of technology.
Right.
That's what I found.
John is very clever because he said, could you please, before we start the recording here, could you please give me the host key so I can also record? And I was like, how does that work?
Right?
Yeah, but it's true. Yeah, it's true. So pretty much you find the niche and the pain point and you go at the business. Yeah.
Got to find the audience first.
Oh, audience first. Yeah.
Always find the audience first. So is there an audience? Are they already paying money for the problems that you're going to be solving? Right?
So trainers, speakers, coaches, authors. Yes, it's the audience.
Yeah.
They're paying a shitload of money for people helping them with this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you find an automatization of it. There we go.
Right. And here's the thing. So I learned this from Steve Jobs. Like when he created the iPod, the reason why it took off so well is because he designed it as though it was for him. Like I'm like you, I'm a speaker, right? So, you know, that's another one of my businesses. I do a lot of keynotes flying around the world. But I thought to myself, you know, now I have a baby daughter and I'm on the road like 6 months, 7, 8 months a year, you know, flying to, I just
right.
in Australia, I just flew back and it's like a 23-hour flight. I'm like, man, if I'm a speaker right now and that was my only income, like what would I want to have happen? So I thought to myself, well, why don't every time I do a keynote speech, I record it and I just put that into a membership site that people can just pay to access.
Clever.
Right? Yeah. Why don't every interview I do like this, I just put it in there, summarize it, and so people can access it.
Clever. Yeah.
Right? Why not every time I do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live, instead of reposting it back onto Instagram and Facebook, I just download it, put it into the membership site.
Very clever. And it's another group. That's the interesting part, is it's another group of people, because they want to have the privilege of listening to it first or having it nicely done, than people listening to it on Instagram. Is that correct? That it's all different target groups for each different social media channel? Yeah, absolutely. And also as well, you know, for example, I did a search on my, you know, my subscriptions, and there's been a subscription that I've been paying for the last 10 years. And it's for a phone that I don't no longer have. I kept it running, and it was why?
and it was like $8.99 or something like that. And I'm like, I can't. And I think to myself, why haven't I cancelled this? Because it's too much hassle to cancel. Like $8, like it's not even worth my time calling and canceling it. So then I thought to myself, why don't let's say right now you have 1,500 people in your seminar. Imagine every time you run one of those 1,500, if I do a stat here, 1,500, you charge $8.99, right? That's 13,485 recurring per month.
Right.
How many times do you do that a year?
Yeah, about 200.
200 times.
Yeah, at least.
Times 200. That's 2.6 million passive.
Yeah. All right. We can finish that interview. I have my new business. Thank you so much, Mr. Lee. Yeah, but it's true. Yeah. Actually, I had that today because one of the speaking gigs got canceled, and I have a flight that was, I think, 1:49, and it said wait time is 1 hour 20 minutes, and I'm like, hell no. No. I just don't rebook the flight. I just leave it like it is, right? Right.
Yeah. You see? So our time has become more precious. And what we found is this thing called price elasticity, meaning that there'll be a price where people just don't care, like $10 a month. Like really, I mean, maybe some people, oh yeah, but John, it's okay if you're rich, you got wealth, and maybe it's not big enough, you know, big amount for you, but it is for other people. I get it. But I just think sometimes there are small amounts which are like under the radar that don't hurt you.
Right. I mean, that's how Starbucks lives, and other places. People go there every day, pay $4.99, and they look at if you look at it over the year, they spend a car on coffee. Right? I mean, it's crazy, but it's true. Yeah, we don't think about it. The book you wrote, that got endorsed by Richard Purdad, Kiyosaki. There it is. Business Hack. Do you know if we can purchase it in Germany on Amazon or any other?
I mean, they've got Audible, so I guess you can go to Audible, and they might have it in different languages. Great. So that's the audio version. But if you go to Amazon, just type in Business Hack, they can, you know, purchase a copy there.
What would be some of your products that could also very well fit for the German market? I mean, because if we now we will put 100,000 people on your Instagram, but if you have 1.5 million, you don't even see it, right? But is there anything that you could tell to the German audience that might be interesting of your online courses or?
I mean, I've got, I mean, there's lots of things out there. I've got a website called johnleeproducts.com. So John Lee Products has access to all of my online training programs. If people would like to start their own membership site, I'm happy to give your audience a free trial so they can get used to it. If they go to membbylaunch.com, that's MEMBBY launch.com. membylaunch.com.
We'll put it in the show notes. We have to put that in one email because I can't write that fast.
So membylaunch.com, they can go there as well. But I've got a lot of things out there that for free. I mean, I put a lot of free content. If you go to YouTube, just type in John Lee.
I did that last night. There's loads of stuff and big audiences. My God.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my YouTube channel has probably the most in-depth content. So that's where I filter a lot of people. So a good social media strategy. So I start on Facebook, where I got 2.2 million people, and I drive them to Instagram. So Instagram, the correction is actually 1.3 million, not 1.5 million.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
After this podcast, it's 1.5 million.
Well, yeah, probably, yes. So I go from Facebook, I drive them from Facebook to Instagram, and I drive them from Instagram to YouTube. So it's a filtering process. So by the time they get to YouTube, that's my highest quality audience.
Yeah.
So that's why I put the best content on there.
Okay, got it. So why do you do that? Get them from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube?
Because
not from the platform to your whatever website or something.
Because what I find, well, first of all, it's called a viral marketing strategy. So what we do is each platform has its own viralability factor, right? So if I can get you onto Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, I hit you in all three platforms, and TikTok and Google and retargeting. But then
TikTok as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, we spend millions of dollars online, using Facebook ads, Google ads. I have a whole train. In fact, I actually, before the whole tour was postponed, that's what my tour was. I was flying, doing 3-day training programs on how to actually start an online business using social media, build a brand, and turn your passion into a profit, and also grow your business if you have a business. So the whole idea of paid marketing, and now it's cheap because no one's spending money on marketing because all the businesses are going out of business. So what the idea is, you put $1 in, you get $10 out, right? That's what you want to do. That's the goal, to 10x your spend.
That's a good idea, yeah. We talked a little bit about business hacks and business opportunities. Is there anything that is in your radar right now where you think that could become really interesting? Maybe something you haven't done before? Yeah,
I mean, so I've started to notice this. So I always say that the new currency is data. So there are 3 types of data points you want to hit. The first data point is a list. So I built a list of 278,000 people on my database right now, right? So why is this important? Because when you do, like, for example, if I want to sell a book, I just like the business cards idea, instead of having just 800 business cards, I've got 278,000 people I can reach.
Put something in and you will get
guaranteed
something out.
Guaranteed. It's a guarantee. If you have a list and you offer as long as you're not doing this all the time, you give value first, you add value to people's lives, guaranteed people will always buy something from your list, always.
Yeah.
Right? So the first thing is build your list. Now, the second thing is build your audience. So, for example, combined on social media and all my different pages, I have around 5 million people that follow me across all different pages. And so with that now I've spent the last 3.5 years building that.
Right.
I'm just putting content every single day. I mean, I just film content and I just put it out there. I don't care if it gets 1 view or 10 views. In fact, I just checked, Tobias, that one video that I put out 9 years ago, today has 92,000 views.
Wow.
But when I put it out back then, it only got 100 views.
Right. Over time, yeah.
So this is what we call digital assets. It's free.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to put our digital assets out there.
And actually, that's what I tell. I do train a lot of trainers on how to become public speakers, and I tell them the biggest mismatch in their head is that they don't put out the best content. And I always tell them, if you put out the best content, clients, companies will call you and they want exactly that, because so many people want to keep the best for last. And I personally think it doesn't make sense. And
you're so right there. I completely agree with that. And it forces you to upskill yourself.
Right.
If you've just given your best free content away, that means you've got to learn something else.
Right.
And entrepreneurs, because we're always doing this, we get into that business of learning it. So what happens is we always upskill ourselves. So second is the audience. And the last one is community. So this is something I wish I did 10 years ago. I started a community. This whole thing, #stay-at-home, right?
Yes.
So I kind of wrote the trend, right? We talk about the trend. So I rode off the trend and I created a community called stayathome.onlinebusiness.com. Right? So people went to that URL. And I had 7,000 people join in 5 days.
Wow.
It was insane. And
Yeah.
I wish I would have done that 10 years ago.
Yeah, community is the key. I have community meetings in 45 different cities in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, where people just, it's like, I would say maybe probably like whatever, 30, 40,000 people, but they're coming not all together. It's 10, it's 20, it's 100, but they just help each other in business. And it's just great to see people grow.
Yes.
Right? When you look back to your career of all these years you did right now, was there anything that really didn't work that you kind of like, okay, that was a stone I had to push away? Because it sounds like it all grew very fast, very big, and everything worked out. And I think the little danger for many young entrepreneurs is they're seeing people who are very successful and they see it all worked out. Was there something that didn't work out?
No. Recently I've been testing a lot of stuff, and I'll tell you what didn't work.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That was so funny. No, everything.
I'm trying to think like what didn't work. I think the reason why it's always worked, everything I've always done has worked, is because I've always found the audience first.
Okay.
And I think, and that's a mistake I made on my last bit. So we actually launched a online platform as well, which was kind of more of an education platform. It's called Wealth Dragons Online. We actually created an app, which I think is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So we decided to take all the best speakers in the world and we decided to put them into one place. So we created this little app, and people can go download it and check this out. Mm-hmm. And you can come here, and there are, lots of, entrepreneurs. We have Vincent Wong.
It's like Netflix a little bit. Huh?
Yeah, it's basically the Netflix for self-development.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. Right? It did. We got 47,000 people on there right now. Yeah. So I wanted millions of people on there.
Right.
So it still did all right, and it still, made money. But what we found was that if you were trying to create $1 million company, you don't need to go through many pivots. But my goal right now is to take my company to $1 billion valuation. And for that to happen, you need to think at a different level. So we had to pivot 3 times. So the first pivot was, let's create this platform and let's charge $10 a month for all the content, right? So it kind of flopped because even though because I was like, why won't people pay money for this? Because we were trying to compare it to Netflix. So what I found was that people will pay for entertainment. They won't pay necessarily if I have a choice of sitting there and watching Mission Impossible versus how to do a Facebook ad, I'm always going to watch Mission Impossible.
Right.
People want entertainment. So that's one of the reasons why it flopped a little bit. So then we had to pivot. So the pivot was, okay, then instead of making it open source, let's just make it individual. Let's make it a marketplace. So then we went to every single speaker and said, how would you like to make money? And everyone's like, yeah, I want to make money. And so what we found is we managed to get all the speakers, really big names. If I have to tell you the names, and you go on the platform, you can see all these big names on there. And for them to go and sell their courses on there. Mm-hmm. And again, it didn't work. Why? Because the speakers saw it as a marketplace and therefore did not want to promote the platform. Because if you teach public speaking, well, there's other speakers on there teach public speaking.
Right. And you don't have your audience first thing, right?
Right. So then now we pivoted for the 3rd time. So this is the thing that's going to be launching, which is memby.com, which is the membership software. So we went back and we found what was the pain. The pain was, and the problem was that, okay, you don't want to promote the platform because other people are going to see, your customers are going to see other people, your competitors, so to speak. So what we did, we took that platform, we separated the software. So now it's a standalone. So you will have your own membership site where you collect 100% of the money and you keep 100% of it. And
you're now selling the shovel, not the gold.
You got it, man. You got it. And there's an audience there.
Yeah, I would buy it. I had a company in India programming things for me, which I should have never opened because the product was always crap. Right. And having something that I know already it works, I would buy it, of course. Yeah. I don't have to program it by myself.
Right, and it's standalone. It's got your own branding on there, so you're not. And now you will promote it because
you got your first German speaker, and there are many German speakers.
Yeah, well, there are lots.
And you know what I just learned? That's very interesting. And I always have one question that I ask for me in the podcast, like the rest was all for the audience. It's millions of people listening, but there's this one question I always keep. So here it is. In Germany, we are very privileged in one thing. We have an audience that speaks German and only listens to German-speaking speakers, which is very interesting because I went to the biggest speaking association in the US. It was in Denver, and I was like, oh my God, are they good? I mean, there are speakers they're like rock stars, you know? And I'm like, if that would be my competition, I probably should just close my German business. Well, here's the question. Do you think that it will stay that way, that the countries and cultures will have their own, let me say, human performance industry, or is that going to mingle more and more?
I think now it's completely different. If you'd asked that question 10 years ago, I would have said yes. Each market adapts. But actually, remember what we talk about, Wade crisis is happening right now.
Right.
So the crisis is bringing everybody together. Everyone. Like, for example, I can very easily take this podcast, put it into a software, and it will translate it all into German for me.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
In less than 3 minutes.
Right.
So I can now.
Software exists.
Of course it does. I mean, I tell you, it's called Veed.io, Veed.io. So you can take that piece of software and it'll translate everything, put subtitles on them, and now I can run an ad. Right. I can go to Fiverr. I can say, right, I'll create a 1-second ad saying, hey, by the way, if you love to learn how to, get a better mindset, then listen to Tobias. He's got an amazing podcast. And what I could do is I could run that ad, transcribe my dub, like Kung Fu movies.
Yes.
Now I'm speaking German.
Yes.
Right? And it'll be perfect. Like, shit, Johnny speaks German. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Right? It'll be dubbed that way. That's what Netflix are doing. Netflix are going to China.
True. It's true. Everywhere. Yeah.
All the films, and they're dubbing it. That's how they're creating content.
Right. Well, that will do with me what you just said before. I just have to become better, right?
Look, at the end of the day, we if we stay where if we're not always innovating, we're left behind.
Yeah, no, I agree.